If your knees feel tighter when you stand up after sitting for a while, if your ankles seem heavier by the evening, if your skin marks more easily than it used to, or if your nails have become thinner and more fragile over the years, many people assume that is simply part of getting older. But very often, there is another piece to the story. One of the biggest hidden shifts that happens after 60 is the gradual decline of collagen inside the body. And what makes this so important is that collagen is not just about appearance. It is part of the structure that helps support your joints, your blood vessels, your skin, your tendons, and even the way your body recovers from everyday movement. The encouraging part is this: your daily meals still matter more than most people realize. The foods you eat every week can either help support the building blocks your body uses to maintain connective tissue or slowly work against them over time. And after spending many years observing how older adults respond to changes in nutrition, movement, and recovery, I can tell you something very clearly. Some of the simplest foods are often the ones that make the biggest difference when used consistently. Today, I want to walk you through 8 foods that may help support collagen production and connective tissue health after 60. We will start with the least talked about foods and move toward the one almost everyone already has in their kitchen, but often prepares the wrong way. And stay with me until the end, because the food at number 1 is one of the easiest changes many seniors can make this week. Also, before we begin, tell me your age and where you are watching from in the comments below. I always enjoy reading them, and it genuinely helps me understand the people these videos are reaching. Now let us begin. Number 8 on this list is a food that used to be common in traditional kitchens, but has quietly disappeared from many modern diets: bone marrow. For generations, families around the world treated bone marrow as nourishing food, especially during colder months or periods of recovery. Long before supplements existed, people understood that slow-cooked bones and connective tissues provided something deeply satisfying and supportive. What makes bone marrow interesting is not only the rich texture of the marrow itself, but the connective tissue surrounding the bone. When bones are simmered slowly or roasted carefully, natural gelatin and collagen compounds are released into the broth and softened tissue. These compounds contain amino acids like glycine and proline, which are important for connective tissue support. Many older adults notice that after 60, their joints do not recover from activity the way they once did. Stiffness lingers longer. The knees feel heavier after walking. Even standing in the kitchen for an hour can feel more tiring than before. Part of that may be connected to the gradual decline in collagen production that naturally happens with age. One simple way to include bone marrow is through homemade broth or roasted marrow bones spread onto whole grain or sourdough bread with a small pinch of sea salt. It does not need to be eaten every day. Even once a week can become part of a supportive routine, and many people say that after several weeks of consistency, they begin noticing small but meaningful changes in how their joints feel during everyday movement. Now let us move to number 7. Liver. This is probably one of the most misunderstood foods among older adults. For many years, people avoided liver because they worried about cholesterol or because they simply stopped growing up with it as part of regular meals. But nutritionally, liver remains one of the most concentrated sources of several nutrients involved in tissue maintenance. Collagen support is not only about protein. Your body also relies on nutrients like copper, zinc, vitamin A, and iron to help maintain normal tissue repair processes, and liver naturally contains many of these nutrients in highly usable forms. Beef liver, chicken liver, or lamb liver can all provide nutritional support when eaten in moderate amounts. The key here is moderation and preparation. A small serving once a week is usually more than enough for most people. Many prefer it lightly sautéed with onions and olive oil, or butter. And while liver is certainly not everyone's favorite food, it remains one of the most nutrient-dense options available. What I often notice is that seniors who begin adding nutrient-rich foods back into their meals sometimes report subtle improvements first in places they least expect. Their nails feel stronger, their skin appears less dry, their hands feel less fragile. Small signals that the body may finally be receiving nutrients it has quietly needed for years. Now, number 6 is something many people remove from their plate without realizing what they are throwing away. Chicken skin. When prepared properly, chicken skin naturally contains connective tissue compounds, including collagen. The problem is not the skin itself. The problem is usually how it is cooked. Deep-fried foods cooked at extremely high temperatures may create compounds that are less supportive for the body over time. But gently roasted or baked chicken with the skin left on is very different. Traditional cooking methods often preserve the natural structure of the connective tissue much better. Using bone-in, skin-on chicken pieces for soups or homemade stock can also help provide collagen-rich compounds in a more balanced way. And interestingly, many older adults say one of the first changes they notice after regularly eating collagen-supportive foods is not in their knees at all. It is in their skin and nails. The skin on the hands may appear softer. The nails may stop peeling as easily. These smaller signs often appear before deeper changes are felt in the joints. Now, let us move to number 5, bone broth. This is one of the oldest traditional foods for recovery and nourishment. A properly prepared bone broth, simmered slowly over many hours, allows connective tissues, minerals, and gelatin compounds to gradually release into the liquid. For older adults, this may be especially useful because digestion often changes with age. Many seniors notice that heavy meals become harder to tolerate after 60. Large amounts of meat may sit heavier in the stomach than they once did. Warm broth can sometimes feel gentler and easier to digest, while still providing supportive amino acids and minerals. One thing many experienced cooks look for is this. When real bone broth cools in the refrigerator, it often becomes thick or jelly-like. That natural texture is usually a sign that gelatin and connective tissue compounds were successfully extracted during cooking. Some people enjoy a warm cup in the morning. Others use it as a base for soups or vegetables. And while no single food works like magic, consistency matters far more than intensity. Small supportive habits repeated over time often matter most. Now, number 4, gelatin. This is something many people remember seeing in their grandparents' kitchens long before modern wellness trends appeared online. Pure unflavored gelatin is essentially cooked and dried collagen. It naturally contains amino acids, commonly associated with connective tissue support, including glycine and proline. For older adults with more sensitive digestion, gelatin dissolved into warm liquids may feel easier to tolerate than heavier protein meals. Some people stir unflavored gelatin into warm water with lemon. Others prepare homemade fruit gelatin using berries and a small amount of honey. The important thing is choosing simple versions without excessive sugar or artificial ingredients. Because after 60, many people begin realizing that simpler foods often leave them feeling better overall. Now we come to number 3, sardines. This is one of the foods I recommend most often when people ask about supporting circulation, connective tissue, and overall aging well. Sardines are small fish, which generally means they contain lower levels of contaminants compared to larger fish higher up the food chain. But what makes sardines especially interesting is the combination they provide. They naturally contain omega-3 fats, soft edible bones rich in minerals, and connective tissue compounds from the skin and structure of the fish itself. Omega-3 fats may help support healthy inflammation balance and blood vessel function, both of which become increasingly important with age. Many seniors notice changes in circulation over time. Cold feet, slower recovery from small cuts, heavy legs at the end of the day, visible veins becoming more noticeable. While these experiences can have many causes, supporting blood vessel health through nutrition may still play an important role. A simple way to eat sardines is on whole grain toast with olive oil and lemon. 2 or 3 servings a week is enough for most people, and choosing sardines packed in olive oil rather than heavily processed oils is often the better option. Now, number 2 surprises many people. Papaya. Not because it contains collagen directly, but because it may help the body use protein more efficiently. Papaya naturally contains an enzyme called papain, which may support digestion by helping break down proteins into smaller components. This becomes important because digestion often changes gradually with age. Many adults over 60 are eating enough protein on paper, yet their bodies may not process and absorb it as efficiently as they once did. Papaya also contains vitamin C, which plays an important role in collagen formation inside the body. Without enough vitamin C, the body struggles to properly build and maintain connective tissue. Fresh papaya before or alongside meals can become a gentle addition to a supportive eating routine. And many people find it easier on digestion than heavier desserts or processed snacks. Now, finally, number 1, egg yolks. This may be the most practical food on the entire list because so many people already eat eggs regularly. But there is one mistake many older adults make. They throw away the yolk. For years, people were taught to fear egg yolks. But the yolk is where many valuable nutrients are naturally found. Choline, fat-soluble vitamins, supportive fats, and nutrients involved in normal cellular function are concentrated inside the yolk itself. The way eggs are cooked also matters. Very overcooked eggs may damage some of the more delicate nutrients. Softer preparations like poached, soft-boiled, or lightly cooked eggs help preserve more of the original structure. And pairing eggs with colorful foods like tomatoes, greens, or berries creates a more balanced meal overall. Many seniors who replace highly processed breakfasts with simple whole foods often notice a difference in energy and comfort within several weeks. Less heaviness in the morning, more stable energy, less stiffness after sitting, small changes that slowly begin adding up. Now, before we finish, I want to mention something important. If you experience sudden swelling in one leg, persistent swelling that does not improve overnight, chest discomfort, unusual shortness of breath, or severe pain, it is important to speak with a healthcare professional. Those situations deserve proper medical evaluation. This video is focused on everyday age-related stiffness, connective tissue support, and nutrition habits that may help support healthy aging over time. So let us quickly recap the 8 foods: bone marrow, liver, chicken skin, bone broth, gelatin, sardines, papaya, and egg yolks. You do not need all 8 every day. In many cases, simply rotating 2 or 3 of these foods into your week consistently may be enough to begin noticing gradual changes, because the body responds to patterns, not perfection. And one of the most encouraging things about aging is this: your body continues responding to supportive habits far longer than most people think. It still listens to movement. It still responds to nourishment. It still adapts. Sometimes it simply needs the right building blocks again. Tell me in the comments which of these foods you already eat and which one you may try adding this week. And if you found this video helpful, subscribe for more practical wellness information designed specifically for adults over 50. Take good care of yourself. Your body has carried you through many years of life. It deserves support, patience, and the right nutrition along the way. And before you leave today, there is one more thing I want you to remember. Many people spend years searching for a single supplement, a single powder, or a single shortcut that promises to restore how the body felt decades ago. But in reality, the body often responds best to steady habits repeated over time. A nourishing breakfast, enough protein throughout the week, gentle daily movement, good sleep whenever possible, hydration, and foods that provide the raw materials your body still knows how to use. That is especially true after 60, because the body may move more slowly than it once did, but it is still constantly rebuilding. Your skin is rebuilding. Your joints are rebuilding. Your blood vessels are rebuilding. Even your muscles and connective tissue continue adapting based on what you give them consistently. And this is where many older adults become discouraged too early. They try something healthy for 4 or 5 days, then stop because they do not feel dramatically different overnight. But connective tissue changes rarely happen overnight. Think about how long it took for the stiffness, heaviness, or fragility to gradually appear. In most cases, those changes developed slowly over many years. So naturally, improvement also tends to happen gradually. First, people notice they get out of bed a little easier. Then, the knees feel less tight walking through the grocery store. Then, climbing stairs feels slightly smoother. Then one morning, they realize they are no longer thinking about their joints every single time they stand up. That is usually how real progress happens, quietly, little by little. And another thing I always encourage older adults to remember is that collagen support is not only about appearance. Yes, healthier skin can be a pleasant bonus. Stronger nails can feel encouraging. But the deeper purpose is function. Being able to walk comfortably, feeling steadier on your feet, recovering better after activity, maintaining mobility and independence. Those are the things that truly matter. And the encouraging part is that many supportive habits are surprisingly simple. A cup of bone broth instead of a sugary snack. Eggs and greens instead of heavily processed breakfast foods. Fresh fruit instead of packaged desserts. Small shifts repeated consistently. That is where momentum begins. Now, one final reminder. You do not need to eat perfectly to support your body. You do not need complicated routines. And you certainly do not need to feel guilty about every meal. The goal is simply to give your body more of what supports it and less of what constantly works against it. That balance matters, especially as the years go by. So if you decide to try one thing from today's video, start small. Pick one food. Add it consistently for a few weeks. Pay attention to how your body responds, because your body is always giving feedback when you learn how to listen carefully. And sometimes the difference between feeling older and feeling stronger is not age itself. Sometimes it is simply whether the body still has the building blocks it needs. Thank you for spending this time with me today. If this video was helpful, let me know by leaving a comment below. I always enjoy hearing which topics are most useful to you. And if you enjoy calm, practical videos focused on healthy aging, movement, nutrition, and everyday wellness after 50, make sure you subscribe and turn on notifications so you do not miss future videos. Take good care of yourself. And remember, it is never too late to support the body that has supported you for so many years.